Hello, today I'll be talking on hip hop subculture and style. Before we go any further, let's start with this. What is subculture? According to Oxford Dictionary, a subculture is a group of people within a culture that differentiates itself from the parent culture to which it belongs, often maintaining some of its founding principles. It can also mean an ethnic, regional, economic, or social group exhibiting characteristics patterns of behavior sufficient to distinguish it from others within an embracing culture or society. What is hip hop? Hip hop is a complex system of ideas, values, and concepts that reflect newly emerging and ever changing creative, correlative, expressive mechanisms, including but not limited to songs, poetry, film, and fashion. DJ Africa Bambaataa is credited as the first to describe hip hop as subculture. Here's a bit of backstory. The South Bronx is a small neighborhood in New York, USA. It was isolated from the rest of New York because of the ongoing construction of the expressway going on in that area, which left the city with loads of rubbles, as those that could afford to relocated from the place to a better area. The youth left were forced to make good of what was left of the city. As you know, necessity is the mother of invention. Young people of color found their way to make this bleak surrounding positive and beautiful by coming together to create much needed fun. At one of those parties, hip hop music was born. This type of music is generally believed to emerge in New York's South Bronx in 1973 by Jamaican-born Cool DJ Herc during his sister's Halloween party. Herc used an innovative turntable technique to stretch a song's drum break by playing the break portion of two identical records consecutively. These styles got the youth dancing, and dance moves that blends with the music, which is later termed breakdancing, was born. By mid-70s, this form of mixing music and dancing has gained prominence that DJ in New York made it their main highlights of parties. Still in the 70s, Bambaataa also formed the Universal Zulu Nation, a hip-hop awareness group that organized cultural events for youth. The group was an alternative to gang activity for many young people. Over time, the Zulu Nation has spread internationally as a hip-hop awareness movement guided by certain spiritual principles. Hip-hop cultures are DJing, breakdancing, graffiti, MCing. DJing, the art of spinning records at dance parties, picking out songs in a crowded, pleasing sequence, the art of mixing records on a turntable with expertise and rhythm. Breakdancing is a style of dancing with every part of the body that includes gymnastics moves, head spins, hand spins, back spins, and body jerks. Young people who were into dancing to the breaks of Bronx parties started calling themselves B-boys and B-girls, and the style of dancing came to be known as breakdancing. Graffiti. Visual arts is seen as an expression of youth culture and rebellion in public spaces. The youth sees it as a way of signing their names in public spaces, which later evolved to group names and then to paint sprays on the walls as the dance. MCing. MCs are initials for Master of Ceremony. MC are initials for Master of Ceremonies. MCs originally hosted parties and introduced tracks, but eventually it was used to describe rappers. Rapping is the art of reciting words in a rapid rhymes in a rhythmic way as a beat is set to it. In the early 1970s, this evolved into street jive, a type of half-spoken, half-sung urban street talk. In 1979, song Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang was released as the first rap single ever, its major success and importance for following rap releases. In the 1980s, the hip-hop scene gave rise to expansion as the music found its way into the mainstream in the US with artists like Run DMC, Public Enemy, and Gangsta Flash released albums. Run DMC released its version of Aerosmith Walk This Way and were nominated for a Grammy. Hip hop music has found its way into the mainstream. It also gave rise to women in the hip hop world in the 1980s who dresses and act tough like their male counterparts, Queen Latifah, Salt and Pepper, The Brats, a few of them. In the 1990s, gangsta rap, a type of rap that describes life in inner city neighborhoods where the rappers talk on their hardship, pain, and aspiration, became commercially popular in the US. Even though many people criticized it, this music spoke to youth who could identify with this theme of anger, rebellion against authority, and apathy. Later, in May 16, 2001, Hip Hop's Declaration of Peace was signed by 300 key players in the hip hop world, a United Nations organization, UNESCO, which states that hip hop is a positive phenomenon. Styles in terms of fashion and display plays a crucial role to the formation and continuing existence of hip hop culture. In the 80s, in the 90s, 2000s, and now. Ways of communicating is through clothing, hand signs, social media, rap, graffiti, slangs, dancing, and DJing. Hip hop has been likened to Black American CNN. Like CNN, it shows all kinds of news, not just positive stuff, and that's the same for hip hop. The hip hop has never stopped bearing witness. It talks about their pain, hurt, aspiration, wishes, and all that. There is a way of talking, dressing, dancing, walking, and attitude which is attached to hip hop that is termed cool, that forms the core of hip hop. Hip hop has created many TV shows, movies, and superstar artists. Over 40 years, one of the most important subculture was born. Today, hip hop has become the way of life that dominates music, art, dance, fashion, and advertising. It is the part of everyday life of the youth. Check